Hello everyone, I am Anil Bharate, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, BLDS CET Vijaypur. In this video, I am going to explain about some basics of classes, which is part of module number 3 in the subject Object Oriented Concepts prescribed in VTU syllabus for 4th semester students. Now, in this slide, I am going to explain Java program which covers class, object and method. So to start with class, when you define a class, new data type can be derived. Now in this case, a class is defined, name of the class is box. Now it should be defined like first keyword class should be written, then after name of the class. In this case, box is name of the class. Now inside this class, we have three variables declared: width, height and depth. Now, these variables are called as instance variables of that class box. Not only these instance variables, but also we have a method called as volume. We have defined this method in the program or in the same class called as box. So the class box contains three instance variables plus one method called as volume. Now let us go to the next class. In the same program, we have box demo 3. In this class, we have defined a main function. If you observe, main function is defined under box demo 3 class. Now here we need to remember that whenever a main function is defined in some class, that class name should match with program name. So in this program, we have main function defined under class box demo 3. So name of this file should be box demo3.java. Okay, next let us move to the declaration of or definition of main function. It is defined like public static void main string of args. Now let us try to understand each term or each word in this line. So why the main function is defined or declared as public is because now the main function is called by Java Virtual Machine JVM, which is outside the class box demo 3. So to call main function from outside code, we need to declare this as public. Next, static. Why it is static is JVM calls main function without creating any object. So that is why we have static function. Now void indicates that main returns nothing and main is name of that method. String args is nothing but it is a parameter because in command line argument, if some commands are passed, then to receive those commands we need to have a parameter called as args. Now next two lines indicate that creation of object. Now here we have created two objects. First object is mybox1 and another one is mybox2. These are the two objects that we have created in this program. Now how to create object? Listen. First class name should be written box, then object name equal to new, then again box class name with parenthesis. Now this parenthesis means this box is a method. Later on we understand this, but as of now you remember that class name, object name equal to new and then constructor. So here we have created two objects called as mybox1 and mybox2. Now new keyword or new operator should be explained here, and this new operator will assign memory to box object. Here in the first line, new will allocate memory to mybox1. In the second line, new operator will allocate memory to mybox2. Now here one more thing to understand or analyze is the difference between class and object. See, when you define a class, it is just a format. It has no physical sense. But when you create object of that class, then there will be a physical sense, meaning that the when you create object, memory will be allocated to it, but when you define class, no memory is allocated until and unless you create an object. So let us move to the next part of this program. Let us assign values to each instance variable. So I will assign value 10 to width, then 20 to height, and 15 to depth. But observe that all three values are corresponding to the first object, that is my box 1 dot width, my box 1 dot height, my box 1 dot depth. So these three values are corresponding to first object. Similarly, we are allocating or assigning three values which are corresponding to second object, that is my box 2. Now we have assigned values of, or we have set dimensions for individual boxes. Now once it is done, next we should calculate volume. For that we have volume function or volume method. Here volume method is called with the help of my box 1, that is it is corresponding to first object. Now corresponding to first object means these 10, 20, 15, these three values are used and result will be 3000. That is why here output, in the output if you observe, volume is 3000. But for the next time the same method, that is volume, is called, but this time with respect to second object, that is my box 2. So it means that 3, 6, 9, these three values are used in this formula, width into height into depth, and therefore volume is 162. So in this case, or in this example, we have understood about what is class, what is object, and method. So let us go to the next slide. So parameterized methods. Here I have used same example with minor changes. The only change is we have added one more method called as setDIM, means we are setting the dimensions automatically. Now if you observe, class box, double width, height, depth, these are all same as that of previous program, and volume function or volume method is also same, and we have new method called as setDIM. Now it accepts three parameters, that is W, H, D, and these three values are assigned to width, height, and depth respectively. Now let us go to the next class. Here class box demo 5. Under this class we have defined main function or main method. So name of this file should be box demo 5.java. I hope you remember this. Now in the previous example we had created two objects. In the similar line we have created two objects here, my box 1 and my box 2. One more variable is declared, double volume. Now observe the next line, my box 1 dot set dim. So here we are calling set dim method with respect to first object, and the values that are passed are 10, 20, and 15. So when this function is called or method is called, it will be, control will be transferred to this volume method and it will return the volume of that box, and as usual it's 3000. Now there is a next one more call to the same function setDIM, but this time values are 3, 6, and 9. So corresponding volume will be 162. It is same as that of last program. The only change is here we have used one extra method called as setDIM, which receives or which accepts parameters and sets width, height, depth accordingly. So let us move to the next slide. In this slide we will understand what is constructor. Now here class box is defined again with three instance variables, width, height, depth, but there is one more method called as box defined here. If you observe, box is a method. Then three variables are set, width is equal to 10, height equal to 10, depth is equal to 10. These are the three variables that are assigned the values. But here one thing to observe is, if you observe, method name is box and it is declared under or defined under the class called as box. So if you observe, the class name and this method name are same. So when method name is same as that of class name in which it is defined, then that method is called as constructor. I hope you have understood. I repeat, when a method is having same name as that of class in which it is defined, then that method is called as constructor. Now let us go to the next part of the code. Here, double volume, again this function is used as usual that we have seen in last example as well. But here one more class is there, class box demo 6, under which we have defined main function. If you observe, again we have created two variables, box my box 1 and my box 2, and as usual we have declared one variable volume. Here volume is equal to my box 1 dot volume. So now volume method will be called and those values will be passed to this. It means that when we created object my box 1 is equal to new box, then automatically the constructor was called and values of width is set to 10, height is also set to 10, and depth is also set to 10. Therefore when in this case, when at this particular point when we call volume function or volume method, it will return 1000 because 10 into 10 into 10. Okay. Now if you observe, we had created one more object called as my box 2. Here when object is called or when it is created, automatically constructor will be called. So when constructor is called, again values of width, height and depth are set to 10 each. So again when volume function is called with the help of second object, then volume will be same 1000. So here there are some things to remember, that is, when constructor is defined, it is used to assign or initialize objects. Whenever a object is created, like here we have created like box my box 1 is equal to new box, whenever we create, automatically constructor will be called. So control will transfer to this constructor. Again we are creating second object. When this object is created, see here box is called, so this constructor is called again. So remember that constructor is used to initialize objects, and whenever object is created, that constructor is automatically called. We need not to specify or we need not to call it specifically. Okay, let us move to the next slide. Now here in this case we have parameterized constructors. Now let us see what are parameterized constructors. As you know, constructor is a method which has same name as that of class name. So here we are passing some parameters to such constructor or such method. In this case we have same class called as box, 3 instance variables, width, height and depth. Now we have constructor here, box, double w, double h, double d. So we are passing parameters to constructor. And one more thing I forgot to tell you about constructor is, if you observe, for constructor there is no data type return. Usually we will be having data types for each method, like void main we have, then we had like void volume or double volume, but for this method box there is no data type. So that is the speciality of constructor. There will be no data type for constructor, as we can observe here, because its type will be same as that of class type. So there is no need to specify any data type before constructor. Well, now coming back to this example, now these three parameters. So if you observe, this constructor has replaced set dimension functions that we have seen in second slide. So that was used to set the values to width, height and depth, but constructor has replaced that method. That is, we have removed that method set dim and we have defined constructor. Well, now let us go to the next part, class box demo 7, under which we have main function. Then again, as usual, we have seen, or we have created two objects, that is my box 1 and my box 2. But there is a slight difference in the definition or in the creation of objects in this example and the previous examples. See, box my box 1 is equal to new box. There were empty braces, but in this case we have 10 comma 20 comma 15. This is because this constructor is parameterized constructor. While defining the constructor, we have three parameters like w, h and d. Therefore we need to pass three values whenever this constructor is called or whenever object is created. Similarly, we have created second object, that is my box 2 is equal to new box 3 comma 6 comma 9. Now with the help of this first object, volume method is called. Then as usual, volume will be called and these three values, that is 10, 20, 15 are multiplied with each other, then volume will be 3000. And similarly, we have called same method volume, but this time with respect to my box 2, that is second object. So the volume will be 162. This is because when we had created object, see, when we created my box 1, then we had passed 10, 20, 15. So automatically the function or the constructor will be called and width, height and depth will be initialized to 10, 20 and 15 respectively. Similarly, for second objects, when second object was created, 3, 6, 9 values are passed and width, height will and depth will be initialized to 3, 6, 9 respectively. So I hope I have cleared all the doubts regarding class, object and method as well as constructor. So thank you.